everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going? Happy Friday. Fish out of
Happy
water.
Friday.
Oh, fish out of water. I know.
Nope, we're definitely not out of water.
Hello
I have my
there.
drink here.
Oh,
Not
yes.
out of water.
Not out of any sort of liquid beverage. I hope everybody has a nice, refreshing beverage of their choice if they're palm of their hands at this moment. Again, welcome you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday. Well, more specifically, happy Friday the 13th. Oh, just to let you guys know, hello, I am PvaColada. My name's Janelle. I am drinking a Manhattan today because I felt like it. It's kind of cold out. I wanted something to warm the soul. So, and this is...
Angelus 000, also known as Jonathan.
What are you drinking,
That's who
John?
I am.
What are you drinking?
Today I actually decided to mix it up. Usually I'm just drinking straight whiskey because it was, Freaky Friday / Friday the 13th. I added some Coke Zero into it, so,
Oh my
God. I know. I go a little crazy.
I love that you have a pint glass, too. It's like, not this, like, you're like, I'm going. Was your pinky out? Oh, and
yeah,
you
this is drink,
and you have a
drink
pinky.
history repeat.
Definitely.
So tell me, so what do we? This is the lore of the Friday the 13th, because I signed up for the movie, right? You're gonna talk about the lore of the movie, the Friday the 13th?
No.
Oh no.
They're different.
Hold on, let me check my notes here.
Did you have?
No.
Yes, we are here. Disappointing. What's so disappointing? Yes, we are here to talk about the lore of this very day, right? I found it very appropriate to talk about why Friday the 13th is known as this unlucky day of the year that happens sometimes once, twice, up to 3 times, depending. So this year, we had one already back in March. We had March. I know. Educate me. I'm here to educate you. Or hopefully. We'll see. And I'm on my second Manhattan. Teach us a way. Oh, did you see I became part of my background? I turned into a ghost for a second.
It's because it's Friday the 13th. Crazy things are gonna happen during this stream. We don't know what might happen, but we know it's gonna be crazy.
I really hope, this unluckiness, like, if I break down, my internet goes out, I fall out of the chair. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, all these things could happen at any point in time, and it's a little scary.
I kind of did teleport. It looked like I teleported. Oh, like John.
Just kidding. I'm back.
You guys are drinking sake? I like it. Cheers to that, everybody. Well, before we get started, this is our silly, of course, beginning introduction. Everyone, please take a drink. Cheers to you and this, as my green screen gets weird, and this lovely Friday in November.
Cheers.
We're like almost done with the year.
I mean, Friday the 13th had to come in a year where we had an election, we had COVID.
I know.
It's
a lot.
It's just too much.
Well, right now I'm teaching, and their last day in actual physical class was on March 13th, which was a Friday. So it was really interesting to talk to my students today about, when was the last time you guys, it was a Friday the 13th this year, and they all were like March, and it was their last day inside a classroom, and it was a little bittersweet on that, but I know. But we're gonna get 2 Friday the 13th next year, and the year after that, I think we'll get another 2 Friday the 13th. So it's more common than you think for it to populate more than once. So I feel bad for people who have a Friday the 13th phobia, which we will talk about today, because that sounds like you have to deal with it more than once a year, and you can't avoid it, at all. I don't understand. Nope.
All right. But you could just refuse to look at the calendar.
I guess you could. You could be like, today is not Friday the 13th, today's Friday. I don't know. You have to make up a day, I guess. I can't.
The 14th? That was just...
I know.
You had 30 other days you could have picked. Just...
I'm gonna blame the pasta that's sitting in my stomach right now for any sort of lapse of any memory or idea in my brain. All right, you guys, so let's get started. I try to keep this in a reasonable time, but we're just gonna pretty much shoot the shit today. Today is just an idea. We're gonna talk about random things, right? Just random lore. They don't really connect. The only theme is either the number 13 or the idea of Friday, and then trying to make Friday and the number 13 meet. which is Friday the 13th, right? So there are two different ideas that really go back really far back. I actually thought it only went back to the medieval period, but it goes even further. It can go back to what some people consider the beginning of time. So it's very interesting to read up on why Friday the 13th is known as this unlucky day in Western culture, even though I think the Italians think the 17th is an unlucky number. So it's interesting depending on where you're at. I don't know. But yeah. Ooh, here we go. So just superstitions, right? I don't know about you guys. I'm not a superstitious person, although I enjoy learning about like what people are superstitious about. So generally, the origins of superstitions can be really hard to pin down because they could be something that's just evolved over time, right? Like the idea of playing the game telephone, I like to think of like something might have happened and then how it's passed down orally, right? Verbally.
Wait, you don't have any superstitions?
No.
Like before a test, did you I don't know, do something special? Always go out to have the same meal?
You're a little superstitious? No, I don't have anything. I studied before a test. I have traditions, but I don't have superstitions.
Okay, well give me a tradition. Aren't some traditions superstitions?
No, because I don't think if I don't do them, something bad will happen. So like growing up, I had my best friend in high school. When we would drive, she was the kind of person, like, I don't know if any of you guys do this, like, when we would go over train tracks, she'd lift her feet off the floor. Or
I put my hand on the roof.
She puts her hand on the roof when there's going under a yellow light. So, like, I have certain friends who are very superstitious, and they have very specific things they do in very specific circumstances. I don't know, like, I know you're not supposed to walk under a ladder, right? There's something about a mirror. I don't know, black cats. I don't know. There's all these things. It's not really... Because again, I'm not superstitious. I just kind of see someone do it. So I don't know if if you guys like want to write down what you are superstitious about. I am curious to know more about these things. But yeah, so these superstitions, they are hard to pin down. Generally, you learn them from somebody. You've heard about it, right? But really to go back to the origin of it, it's not always easier. So people come up with all these theories. So specifically, Friday the 13th has a few theories on why we know it as this unlucky day that's going to start a crazy franchise, right? It's going to have all these different movies and different stories, and people are going to have phobias over the day. It causes depression. I don't know if you guys know that. So we'll talk a little bit about all of these things. And then, of course, we'll also talk about the party poopers that have debunked some of these theories as well, because that's happened. I have the superstitions that my friend... it's just...
You're right. Epic, you're right. She is sus.
Don't throw me out the airlock, please.
She's super sus.
Oh, right.
There's only like 2 tasks to do in admin. Like, why is she always saying she's an admin? I don't believe her. Super sus.
There's 3 tasks to do in admin, okay? All right. So Western superstition, Friday the 13th is considered the unluckiest day of the year. And this is because crappy things have happened when that particular day and date meet. Right, so when it's the 13th, falls on a Friday. Also, a lot of superstition is tied, like other superstition, it's tied to mythology, basically religion, right? And I always joke around because, like in 2020, we have 2, and people keep talking about, oh no, what next? Right? 2020's been down the toilet. So, before we talk about Friday the 13th as a whole, we should talk about the fear of the number 13. And people are just afraid of the number 13, and we see this kind of in a lot of ways, like, right, there's superstition. I think it's like, we talked about this, John, briefly, like, before we started the stream, like, architects don't even include a level 13th floor, right? Because
it's funny, wait, you're talking about 13 right now. 8 plus 5 plus 1 is a 16, damn it. Okay, keep going. Sorry, I was 8:15 when I was, never mind. It made sense.
It made sense in your brain for just a split second?
Yeah, like I was hoping it was going to be 13, but okay. Continue.
But why the number 13? Why do we think of it in this way? Why do hotels not have a 13th floor? And this goes back to mythology, and there's very much 2 origins to that. And first, before I forget, you guys, I should have my photos ready to go for you, because you know me, I drop the ball every time. So the first thing, let me fix some things up here. So the first one is in Norse mythology. So this is how the story goes. And I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but there are 12 gods. who are having dinner in Valhalla, which is their place of heaven. And that sounds like a jolly good time, right? Gods having dinner in Valhalla. It seems like they're drinking heavily and getting happy. But then all of a sudden, Loki walks in, right? And he's known as the trickster god. He's become very famous when it comes to the Avengers and all that jazz, right?
Thor's brother. I got it. I'm paying attention.
You're paying attention. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So Loki shows up, and he's not invited. He's not an invited guest. So when he arrives, that makes him the 13th guest. It's like, uh-oh, right? And when he gets there, he actually had arranged for one of the other gods to get shot by with an arrow. And when he has that god shot by an arrow, he dies, which causes the whole earth to go dark. And so the earth mourns, and in Norse mythology, this causes the number 13 to be an unlucky number because of this story. I thought that was kind of a little interesting.
That is cool.
Tidbit there. So that's the first one. So Loki apparently is the reason that we have in Norse mythology, right? That that the number 13 is seen as unlucky, right? You know a story of Loki. Oh, you're like, I know that name. Tom Middleton, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. You could go back all the way to, so in 1700 BCE, or BC, or just BC, whatever your persuasion is, in ancient Babylon, the Code of Hammurabi reportedly omitted a 13th law. I actually have a picture for you guys for that one too, before I forget.
Does it have something with women's voting rights?
Oh gosh, I know.
That was a throwback to. Never mind.
Well,
Let's keep going.
that's the 19th Amendment. It would have been clever if it was the 13th, but that's the 19th Amendment, John. So the Code of Hammurabi reportedly omitted the 13th law from its list of legal rules. And you guys know the Code of Hammurabi, right? Eye for an eye, and there's all these different little things going on there. I think that's the only one I know off the top of my head. But
an eye for an eye, the golden rule. If you take my hand, I take your hand.
Yeah.
Aren't these all the same thing?
Are they all the same? So, and it's really interesting. So, because they omitted the 13th law from this code, like, they think that this is because they were found as 13 superstitious even back 1700 BC before Common Era. So before, like, really far back, right? While others say it's probably just a clerical error. I think that's kind of funny. You think about, okay, this is what I found really funny about this. Let me do this. Think about chiseling, right? You have to chisel the laws into here. And let me make this larger so you guys can see how fine this is. Like, if you look real close, like, the laws are located underneath the image of Hammurabi, right? This is all the laws.
No one's gonna follow those.
And they're really little.
Any of that.
Like,
That's
really,
crap.
And you think about a clerical error. Someone's, like, chiseling away, and they just went, oops. They went from 12 to 14.
Where's the whiteout?
I know, where's the whiteout? So the idea that when I read that it was probably a clerical error, I laughed my ass off. I thought that was I don't know if that's because I'm a big history nerd and I just thought that was really random and funny. But others find it superstitious. So like the idea that the ancient Babylon code that they just omitted it, like, and because they found it a superstitious and there was no reason to include it. So that's something. So it adds to this long-standing negative association, right, to the number 13. Another reason, specifically, I'll admit you.
Messed up.
Oh, epic. So another is actually rooted in Christian mythology, which I find this one really fascinating. So when we think about, so the first step, this is the first one, and these two pieces of information I couldn't find a solid source on, but I read a lot of articles and I kept reading this, and so if you guys know if this is a fact or not, let me know. So what it was is that, did you know that Friday is considered the day that Eve gave Adam the apple from the tree of knowledge, and that's when they got kicked out of the Garden of Eden? Did you know that? That Friday?
No.
That was on a Friday?
Was that really on a Friday?
Well, that's what I read, that in biblical tradition, that Eve picked that apple right from that tree and gave it to Adam on a Friday. I also read that it was also a Friday is the day Cain killed his brother Abel as well. So Friday is a little spooky.
I mean, because that was the day before. Because the old rest day used to be on Saturday, right? It wasn't Sunday, so the old rest day used to be on Saturday.
Correct.
So, people are trying to get their done before their Saturday.
There's a lot of interesting
rest day.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things when it comes to Friday, which we'll get to in just a little bit as we go, because I'm trying to keep it linear. So we're just starting with the ancient civ stuff, and then I'll move into the modern.
I didn't sign up for Civilization. Sorry.
Okay. I know. Let's just sing.
My elective.
Let's just sing Rebecca Black's Friday song. What are we even talking about history for? We should just have a sing along instead.
Friday, Friday, gotta sit on a Friday.
Okay, so
ready for the weekend.
You got your cereal? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first two interesting things in Christian mythology. So Friday, I know we've been talking about the number 13, but just to keep things kind of connected. So Friday is the day Eve picked the apple and gave it to Adam, and also it's the day that Cain killed his brother Abel, which is very interesting. So it's just interesting if that's true. So again, if anyone knows, let me know. Another big thing. So here we have The Last Supper, right? This is by Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Right.
Yeah, the same one, the guy from the Titanic. He was really good at drawing.
So we got a Da Vinci, right? So this is the one of Jesus during the Last Supper, before he's nailed to the cross. So Judas, who betrayed Jesus to the Romans, he's actually the 13th person at this table. I don't know if you guys knew that. So if I actually counted, there's 13 of them, but apparently Judas...
but there was only 12 seats. There was only 12 seats. They didn't save a seat for Judas. That's why he killed Jesus, because, they didn't care. They just added the 12.
He's in this picture. So you have Jesus, you have Mary, and then the 12 disciples.
Look where he's positioned in this picture. I've done a lot of research on this picture. It's actually a really amazing, all the symbology in it is cool.
Is it because you just read Dan Brown's book? Is that what makes you think you're an expert now?
Probably. I mean, that's most likely. I pretended like I read something one year, but Dan Brown is in the back of my head.
He's not yelling, Epic. He's speaking with emphasis.
Am I yelling?
Apparently. Should I turn him down?
I'll yell if I want to yell.
Epic. I have his volume down a little bit. So this one's go. So apparently Judas is known as the 13th person at the table, which gives the superstition, right? Because Judas is the one that betrays Jesus to the Romans. Also, remember, Jesus was killed on a Friday, Good Friday. So there's that kind of connection as well. And putting these together is the potential reason in Western culture why there is this superstition both around Friday and the 13th when we put them together. So Judas is the 13th person at the table. He betrays Jesus, who is then nailed to the cross on a Friday. So, which is sounds more like a bad Friday. Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? It does sound like a bad Friday. So I wanted, before I moved on to the next story, I thought this was a really interesting. So there are phobias, right? First, let's talk about the phobia to the number 13. You guys know this? There's a phobia to the number 13. People are legitimately afraid of it. I don't know, how does that work?
How are you afraid of something that's imaginary? Right? It's a concept. It's not real.
I don't know. I guess that's why it's a phobia. It's irrational, right? It's not the idea of a phobia unless it is connected to something trauma.
I feel like it would be connected to things in the physical world, not things that you can create. But I believe it.
Yeah.
People are scared of clowns. I still don't understand it.
Well, I find that to be a rational fear because of the way they look and this. I don't know. 13 is definitely, I think, being afraid of the number 13. I would never want a phobia shame, but I guess it's because it's the idea.
I'll phobia shame all day. If you're afraid of number 13 in this chat, get out. We're not your therapy. You're welcome.
I thought
Someone
the
had to do
idea.
it.
Oh, well, that's what I thought. I thought the idea of phobias were are they though? I don't know. I have a phobia, so I don't want a phobia shame.
I think you're right. They are irrational because you have fear, even if you have past trauma. Regardless of past trauma, it's things that can't necessarily hurt you that you're still scared of. So
possibly. So I don't know if you guys, so this is actually the terminology for those that are afraid of the number 13. And again, so this guy's let you know, if you haven't heard me say things, I say things funny because I can't always pronounce things correctly, which is really great that I'm a teacher, right? But, so I actually have a small series that I do on YouTube, on my Instagram sometimes, where I try to pronounce dinosaur names. So I thought I should bring an element to this and try to pronounce these really, really long words on screen, on camera for you guys. So don't think less of me when I do this, because yeah. But I have to say, John and I were kind of practicing this one. I didn't practice the other two, but I will be very honest, John. I don't remember how you told me how to pronounce this word.
Cool.
So
I remember.
I'm glad you remember, because then you can tell everybody in chat on how to say this. Right? Oh my gosh, epic. What is that word? I screamed inside when I read it. Okay, so this one is, I think it's, I'm going to try to do this, this way. Okay, here we go. You ready? Here we go. We got Triskaidekaphobia. Wait, no, hold on. Triskaidekaphobia. Did I get it? No, I can't remember.
No.
I'm never gonna get it.
Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia.
That's what I said, Kun. Like I said, she's just gotta Google. But it's more fun this way. It's much more fun this way.
Yes, Chris, I do that. Especially when I'm gonna teach, I make sure I know how to pronounce words. But for this stream, I wanted to have some fun and not try to practice how to say these words that I literally look at and freak out because of my dyslexia. Your lung disease. Oh no. So this is just to let you guys know. John, will you say this for everyone again?
Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia. Can I drink to that? I think I nailed it. I closed that book.
You definitely said a word, so congratulations.
Thank you. So, if anything, you guys, this is the fear of the number 13. We will learn. We'll see the word for the fear of the actual day, which we'll do later. Okay. So the next bit. So as we move on, right? We just did more of the ancient style, where maybe the idea, especially rooted in Christianity or in Norse mythology, the idea of why the number 13 is frowned upon as unlucky, and also the beginnings of why the day Friday is also seen as unlucky as well. Okay. So here we are. We're going to move into the Middle Ages now. So the very first thing I want to talk about is Chaucer.
You got a sub. Everyone has to take a drink now.
Oh, we got a sub. Okay,
Welcome
now the drinks. Fresh love. Huzzah. Huzzah. So now we're going to move to the Middle Ages. And so Chaucer writes his legendary tale, the Canterbury Tales. And he wrote this book around the early 14th century, which is the early 1300s, for those that don't remember high school, history.
Also, I'll just spoiler alert, there are no stories about berries. I was very disappointed. It was the Canterbury Tales.
Oh
I
my gosh.
About berries from this town called Canta.
I can't.
I don't know, it was just...
I like that one like this to me. Woo! Right there. So, in the story of the Canterbury Tales, Chaucer actually believed that Friday, he writes about this in his stories, that Friday is an unlucky day. And that he also states that you should never start a journey on a Friday. So don't go out going on a journey on a Friday. So don't start your long weekends on Fridays, apparently. He also wrote about how, King Richard the Lionheart was slain on a Friday. He really talks about people dying on Fridays. And I'll get to that. So, in England...
Wait, but I would just have to stop for a second, because Screamin' just donated 500 bits.
Oh my gosh!
And I think we need to drink to him. That's amazing.
I'm so sorry, Screamin'. You're so sweet. Thank you, Screamin'. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. I need to have a thing up. I don't have any of my little... I apologize. I don't have any of my little things that say something when someone does something amazing. Oh, thank you, Screamin'. I appreciate you. I know. It's Friday this day, everyone. Let's drive to Vegas. Let's just leave for Vegas during the pandemic, during COVID, on a Friday. The day Chaucer says, do not travel. I love this. It's all great ideas.
Nothing will go wrong.
Nothing will go wrong.
No, we're good.
Nothing will go wrong. So while we're here, just to give you an idea why Chaucer probably wrote about Fridays not being a good day, is that did you know in Britain and even in America, Friday used to be known as Hangman's Day. So if you were condemned to death, say you did a crime and you're condemned to death, they would wait till Friday to hang you. So
it's awesome. Everyone's getting off of work. Hey, Janelle, you going down to the hanging later today? Oh, I can't wait.
Friday's hanging. You know, you got Friday's hanging going on. Okay, so I gotta. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I'm free on Friday. But it's just like, so Friday's killing day. No wonder people were like, this day sucks.
I used to play the game Hangman in like my 3rd grade class on Fridays only. It's when the teacher allowed us to play Hangman.
Ah.
Coincidence? Nice. I think not.
I think not as well. I know. Oh no. But no, there's actually, like, I found newspaper articles about, in, like, Pennsylvania, them doing hangings on a Friday. It was really fascinating stuff. Like, look up Hangman's Day. It's Fridays. But that's not a thing anymore. We don't hang people like that publicly. So, yeah. Any questions so far?
That got morbid.
I know. It's
publicly, at least. I mean,
I know. I've been
privately,
drinking.
We hang a lot of people.
I've been drinking. Yeah. I like that, hanging out at the hang-in on a Friday.
That's right, Lolo. The Gala are always lit on the weekends. But specifically on Friday.
Yes.
It's when we do our things.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's stick and stay the Middle Ages. And this is going to be kind of the main story of the night. And a lot of people actually have stated that this is the main origin of Friday the 13th. Although it's been some have debunked it. So it's a little bit of like a debate if this is the actual true origin of Friday the 13th, but some do claim it as the legend, I guess, you know. So the biggest story or lore tied to the superstition comes from the Knights Templars. You guys remember, so John is supporting the flag behind him. So this day is tied to the Knights Templars, which, if you guys remember, the Templars were a Catholic military order from the Middle Ages. And what they did basically, I don't know if you guys have read the Dan Brown.
And part of the very important part of Indiana Jones 3, where Sean Connery, God rest his soul, he just passed away because it's 2020 and they take away the best people in 2020. Where he was part of the movie. And the Knights Templar were in there. Anyway, yeah.
Well, we can talk about how many times the Knight Templar appears, which, yeah, give me 1 second. So, like, if you read Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code, which, I don't know if you guys read it. I read that in high school, and I remember feeling like, I would read a chapter and be like, oh my god, this is so crazy, and I was so into it when I was 17. And now I'm just like, oh no, 17-year-old Janelle, why did we do this? But I remember being like, the secret society, right? So, in Dan Brown's book, and if you read about the history of the Knights Templars, they were actually arrested on Friday, October 13th, 1307, by King Philip, I believe the 9th? King Philip the 9th? I could be wrong there, but he arrested the Knight Templar, and he claimed that they did acts of heresy, such as things like spitting on crosses, denying Christ, and engaging in indecent kissing. I don't know, and encouraging others to do that. I'm not sure what indecent kissing technically refers
with tongue.
to.
With tongue.
Are we thinking French kissing because they're British and they shouldn't do it with the French? Oh, well, Catholic. I mean, they could have been French as well. I don't know. But I don't know, that was really interesting to read that they were arrested for indecent kissing. If you guys have theories, chat. If you have theories about what indecent kissing is, but with tongue. I get it. So, yeah. They were also charged with numerous offenses, such as financial corruption, fraud, secrecy. What's that mean? And adultery, naturally. Australian kissing, like French kissing, but down under. Oh no, indecent. I know.
The British are no fun whatsoever.
Well,
their food's awful. Everything's awful.
Well, the Knight Templar remember, they're the Catholics, so they could have been Italian. So the Pope, ran this. Okay, so, so they were tried for all these things, and they were eventually tortured, and then they were burned at the stake. That was their punishment, as you can see here in my photo that I have behind me. This whole ordeal actually ended the Knights of the Templar, which is crazy. They'd been around for quite a long time, but the basically the king although it was the Pope's idea to disband them, it was the king that stated they had acts of heresy. The Pope disbanded the whole group. When we think of the Knights Templar, we generally, I don't know about you guys, I generally think about like these badass Christian warriors, right? You think about these knights wearing those tunics, right? And they have these like these swords, and they just seem like this really badass warriors, right? That are going around. And I also think of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, because you know me, I've mentioned this before. I always think of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's like, soon, lad, all of this will be yours. What the cottons? Did I do it? Yeah. Okay. And if you guys read about the lore, yeah, we are the knights that stay. Can you type it?
Amazing.
Let's just quote the whole movie. Let's screw this topic. Let's just quote the whole movie. So
I'm not dead yet.
The knee, like, yes, I'm not dead yet.
The knights who say knee, I got it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Screamin' said it, so I was reading what he was saying.
But I got him, man.
Oh
like,
no! Kunda goes, you have to see it. You have to watch it. Epic, you're doing your woman a disservice. You guys gotta watch Night of the Holy Grail.
Yes.
So, the group. So when we talk about the Knight Templars, we think about movies like Indiana Jones, right? Or we think about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We really think about the lore of them, right? That they discovered the secrets of eternal life, right, with the Holy Grail, or that they found these crazy ideas that Jesus had a bloodline and that he had married Mary Magdalene, right? There's this ingrained lore and legend that the Knights of Templar had these secrets. They had discovered these crazy things that went against the church. And because of that, they start to be kind of seen as rebels, right, within lore. But in actuality, the Knights of Templars aren't as cool as we think of them to be, as legend, as stories have said. They really were just a bunch of unmarried men meant to defend Jerusalem and protect pilgrims during the crusade. Over time, people just gave them money, they gave them land, because they were a religious order, so people just gave them stuff, making them pretty much powerful financiers. They started giving out loans because they could. So they really were just a bunch of dudes, single dudes giving out loans in the end. So not as rad as the idea of them finding the secrets of eternal life, right? Oh, wait, what's happening?
Chat's going crazy assigning drinks.
I know. Drinks.
Cheese tried to assign a drink to himself.
You guys are like my students. I'm always like, pay attention. No. It says, take a sip.
Check out little ruckus. I apologize. We can continue.
No. It's okay. I'm just, you guys are here to have fun, and that's all that matters to me. If you learn something cool, if not, that's okay. If you're here to drink, we're all here to just hang out on this Freaky Friday, right? Freaky Friday. I don't know a Freaky Friday song. I can't try to sit here and that.
I think the entire chat wants to hear you try.
Oh, just let me just give this a go.
I'm ready.
No. So because the Knights of Templar were pretty much fairly wealthy, right? They give out loans, which was a big deal. Because they were a group that had come into some good money. King Philip actually was running very low on funds, and it's theorized that he probably just accused the Knights of Templar of heresy or using magic to confiscate their land and whatnot. So he really just did it to take their funds, which is kind of mean. But this is actually pretty standard. I don't know if you guys remember when we talked about this is of course way in the future, from this time period, not our time period, but the Salem witch trials. Remember, people just started accusing people in order to obtain their land. So you're a witch. And then you take and you confiscate their land. So this kind of practice, just claiming someone was messing with the dark arts, basically, right? Messing with magic, or they have discovered something that goes against the church, which is, again, blasphemy and not what they want. And so you just claim them as heresy and you burn them at the stake and you take their stuff. It's just...
It's logical.
It's not as cool, though, as saying, they found the secrets to eternal life. Or, how Dan Brown was like, there's a Jesus lineage. I mean, maybe. I'm not going to say there isn't. I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't.
I don't. So...
Yeah.
Just
or do you?
Not to do the squashing.
Do you know?
Do I know? Why would I know? No. No.
Thought we were gonna get a big like, reveal on the stream.
I know, big reveal. But however, it's no fun to tell stories that these knights went out because someone wanted their cash. It's way cooler to think of them as true rebels of the church and holding secrets which would cause the Pope to disband them, instead of them being like, I'm gonna kill you and take your funds. Of course, though, the knights, the ones that do survive, become Freemasons. And if you guys know much about the Freemason Society, it's pretty much the world's oldest and largest fraternity, this frat house. And that's a whole other rabbit hole of history that does not connect to Friday the 13th.
Heresy I demand!
Yes.
And,
Check. Yes.
Philip, who has a small pee-pee, he just was not happy. Oh, that's the rumor. I don't know. I wasn't there. So he calls heresy. What happens after that?
I like that. I want you to summarize what I just said. I'm checking for understanding now.
I didn't know we were going to be tested. So King Philip, he's like, who has the small pee-pee, he's like, oh man, look at these Knights Templar who like, they don't even sleep around. You know what, they're not here right now. I could totally take their land. Hey, what's up, my people? These Knight Templars, they're totally going against the church. So, they're saying bad things about our God, the big J. So, heresy, let's go kill them and take their land, because that's what I do. I'm King Philip! That's how it ran in my head. Did I nail it?
I think you fairly nailed it.
I nailed it.
You had the gist, and I'd give you a B+ on that one.
I disagree, chat. That was perfect work. I showed my work too.
So it is. So if you do read up, like if you guys do your own independent research, you'll definitely see this story, right? That the Knights Templar was arrested on Friday the 13th, 1307, and this is what a lot of people do cling on to as the origin of this unlucky of days, right? Because they're pretty much, they weren't doing any acts of heresy. They were just blamed for something because the king wanted to take their land. So it's this idea of unluckiness, right? But then there's also riddled with this idea, well, maybe there is like magic, and there is this, like, they knew that they had discovered something like eternal life and they had to squash it. So you could kind of go either way, I think, with the unlucky element, like unlucky circumstance, or because there was something mystical involved, which makes this all, ooh, right?
Yeah, mystical. I'm going with mystical.
You're going with the word mystical.
It's way more logical, yeah.
So that's like the main storyline. Really, I think it's been widely agreed upon, though, that Friday the 13th wasn't associated with bad luck truly until the 20th century. So the number 13 had been associated with bad luck for some time. The day Friday was known as Hangman's Day. It was a day of executions. It was definitely viewed as a day that people didn't look forward to. We do now, right? We're like, the weekend. But for quite some time, many people did not look forward to it. In 1907, I thought this was really interesting. There's actually a novel that was published by a man named Thomas Lawson. He published a book called Friday the 13th. And it was pretty much just, it's nothing really that we think about, like, when it comes to lore, but it was about it's pretty much a gangster book, I guess you could say. It's about a con man, who uses the stock market to rip off his clients. In the book, his protagonist takes advantage of this of a superstition to create a Wall Street panic on a Friday, which I thought was kind of crazy. On a Friday the 13th, so the protagonist uses Friday the 13th to cause a wide Wall Street panic, and then, of course, 2 decades later we have the stock market crash, but so it's interesting that someone in the early days wrote about that. And then there's all these, like, if you guys ever look up, a lot of crazy things just happen on Friday the 13th throughout the century, throughout the 20th century. Tupac died on Friday, September 13th, 1996. And there's a lot of different, like, planes have gone missing. There's been bombings on Friday the 13th. So a lot of very tragic events have happened. And so people tie that to the superstition and to the unluckiness of the day. Did you guys know that I got this off Wikipedia, by the way, so don't mind me. This is the one fact I got off. I got everything else from, like, articles, but I was like, I just started reading everything I could. According to the Stress Management Center and Phobia Institution, a phobia institution in Asheville, North Carolina. An estimate 17 to 21 million people in the United States are affected by the fear of the day, Friday the 13th. Like, they are legitimately afraid
Seriously?
of it. Yeah, 17 to 21 million people is a
lot of people.
I don't know. Oh, are you in North Carolina? Do you know about this screaming? Oh yeah, you are in North Carolina. Do you know about this screaming? Like, this institution? It's called the Stress Management Center and Phobia Institute. It's in Asheville or Asheville.
Asheville, that's right next to Weaverville.
Oh, is it now?
No, I'm not kidding. My other job, I go to Asheville, and it's right next to some place called Weaverville, which is the next town over. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, Asheville. So it is Asheville. But apparently they stated that an estimate 17 to 21 million people in the United States are actually affected by the fear of the day, making it the most feared day and date in history. Some people are still paralyzed by the fear. They avoid normal routines, such as in like doing business, taking flights, or even getting out of bed. Like,
I didn't poop all day because I was scared. Sharks might come up and bite me, so I just refused.
I can't listen to that. So there are actually two. Let me get rid of this picture for now. Oh, I forgot to show you guys a picture because I'm crazy. So where am I at with all my pictures, you guys? Okay, there it is. So this is the book. That the 1907 book, Friday the 13th, about the broker who used the day.
Look sharp?
I know. It's early 1900s. A lot of people looked pretty sharp back then, right?
Are you saying I don't look sharp? It's messed up.
You look very sharp, babe. You look
thank
great.
you.
So, okay. So I want to show you guys the words that mean the fear of Friday the 13th. And here we go. You guys ready for this? There's two of them. So this is the first one, which is just an extension of the fear of 13. And I think the first of that is frigga. Would we say frigga? Frigga. How did we say this word earlier?
Oh, we didn't look it up.
The rest of it though. The rest of it was the fear of 13. I could tell the root word.
Triskaidekaphobia.
So we would say
Triskaidekaphobia.
Frigga, Triska. Keep going. I'm going with
Decaphobia.
Friggatriskaidekaphobia.
Friggatriskaidekaphobia.
This is painful for everyone.
Just close your eyes. Triskaidekaphobia.
I don't want to make people so upset over this moment. So this is one word that means the fear of Friday the 13th, which I thought, okay, this isn't too bad. But this other word, I don't know if I'll ever be able to say it. You ready for this one?
I'm ready for it.
Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if we can do this. Paraskevidekatriaphobia. Did I do it? I like it. Oh, geez. So, friggatriskaidekaphobia. That's actually, I like the way you broke that down. Deca. I know, scream at me. I'm the worst. I literally see it, and I blend all syllables.
Paraskevidekaphobia.
Okay, thank you.
Paraskevidekatriaphobia.
Oh, this is painful for you, I bet.
It's fine.
I'm gonna move on. John, nail it for everyone.
Paraskevidekatriaphobia. Paraskevidekatriaphobia.
I saw those and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Words are house.
Decatriaphobia.
Words are house. Words are hard.
Tri. So tribophobia. Yeah, words are hard.
I know. All I have to say is, like, this would be the worst phobia to have, like, because it's like you can't avoid it. At least like a fear of heights or being claustrophobic or one of clowns or spiders. In a way, you can avoid those, right? But a day of the year, you can't avoid that. It's coming. It's like you can't dodge this. So I have a phobia myself that I just avoid, and I don't know how people do this. So that's what I have to say. That's the history. That's the origins that I have uncovered for you guys. I hope that you learned something new. And now Angelus is going to start talking about kind of how this day, this number has really seeped into our pulp culture. like, and basically in that regard. So I'm going to pass it off to John. No, I'm not done.
Before I get into that, I'm definitely going to go into that. But I just want to talk about a few other crazy either traditions or superstitions and kind of explain them, because I thought that might be fun too. So opening an umbrella indoors. So according to superstition, if you open an umbrella indoors, it does terrible things for your luck. Although I think I had opened up my umbrella indoors, I don't care. So the theory dates back to basically ancient Egypt, when nobility would use parasols made of peacock feathers and papyrus to protect themselves from the sun. So opening them indoors away from the sun's rays was seen as an insult to their sun deity Ra, and you'd be cursed forever had you done that. So that's one of the origins. We don't know how true that is, but it's one of the origins. The second origin is basically from the Victorian era, when umbrellas were constructed with steel spokes, and then literally opening them indoors, you could take out someone's eye. So, like, don't do that. You're gonna hurt someone. Which is a lot of times how superstitions come, right? It's people who aren't as well educated, and it's people trying to give them some type of story to explain why they may or may not do something. Piva, do you know where kissing under the mistletoe comes from?
No. I do know that arrow. I know the arrow that Loki had shot in the it was like a mistletoe arrow. I don't know if that's connected.
So well, yes and no. The plant is associated with romance. It dates back to traditional Norse mythology. So you're right on. So in the tale, the god Balder was plagued by dreams of foretelling his death. And so his mother Frigg, this goddess of love, set about protecting him and asking every animal and plant. So Loki was a jealous god. He realized that mistletoe had been overlooked in the oath-taking and targeted Baldur with a mistletoe arrow. You got it right on the money, which killed him. Frigg's tears became pearlescent berries, which we see today in the mistletoe. And she ruled that it should become a symbol of love and friendship. And so that's where, like, mistletoe comes from. Do you know where blowing out candles on the birthday cake comes from? Why we blow out candles on the birthday cake?
No. There's so much here. You're the trivia guy.
Oh, yeah. It can be traced back to ancient Greece. So they would bake these round honey cakes as an offering for the gods and goddesses. Long story short, the whole thing with the candles on the birthday cake, it was basically a tribute to the gods, the moon goddess, because they wanted it to glow. And that's why we do it now. It's an old Greek tradition that happens. Last one before I go on to the Friday the 13th tradition. Oh, walking under a ladder.
Well, I don't know. Does anybody know where that comes from? Okay. I don't know where that comes from. The walking under a ladder.
Yeah, you know.
You're a tribute to the gods.
Damn, that's a good line.
That's a great line.
In medieval times, people believed the ladder against the wall resembled the gallows. So going back to all the hangings. So if someone walked underneath it, it was thought that they would meet the same dreadful fate of hanging from the gallows. So that was one of the theories. Another theory was that when a ladder is leaned against the wall, the ladder formed a triangle and signified the Holy Trinity, and walking underneath one would therefore break the Holy Trinity and be considered blasphemy, which brings us back to Friday the 13th and the Templars. You're welcome. I planned that. I didn't because I knew nothing about this.
Well, it's crazy how much, like, superstition definitely has its roots, like, back in ancient and medieval era, and how it's, like, evolved over time, or how we've held on to them. And I think that's why people believe them, because they're so rooted, right, within history or lore or folklore. And that's why they're believable to a degree, right? So, full circle. Hashtag full circle.
So back to Friday the 13th, I only have 4 this time relevant cultural examples of Friday the 13th in the media. So starting with our first picture, which people will bring up. So of course, everyone knows Friday the 13th. This movie came out in the 1980s, was hugely successful, and actually, does anyone in the chat know how many times Jason has been in a Friday the 13th movie? I'm not gonna wait. It's 12.
I was saying, is it 13?
12.
My guess is 13.
The 13th one. This is the crazy part. The 13th one has been in production for over 2 years. It's currently the longest production of Friday the 13th, which is a little crazy.
We were all in the same boat there. We all thought 13. So technically, if 13 is in production, there really are 13 of them.
Well, they were. So here's the crazy part. It was supposed to come out this year, but because of COVID, they had to push production back because they're trying to release it on Friday the 13th. So they considered a cursed project because usually they can film these Jason movies, you know, in 2 to 4 weeks and put it out. This one continues just to be the challenged movie to get across the finish line.
Well, luckily there's going to be 2 more Friday the 13th in 2021, and there'll be 2 Friday the 13th in 2022. I did that research.
Oh, well, there you go.
They have plenty of dates.
Working on the 13th movie. Yeah, they definitely have plenty of dates to choose from.
Yeah.
But it should be closer to Halloween, I assume. That's like their thing. All right, the next picture. So, there was an early reference in English superstition surrounding the date, found by I'm gonna mispronounce the same. You can probably pronounce it better, but I'm gonna do my best Italian. Gioacchino Rossini. Gioacchino Rossini, who was a famous
if you
opera
just
composer.
Scream it and like blur it, no one will just go okay. So, I think you nailed it. Yeah.
And so this famous Italian opera composer was freaked out, and he thought Friday the 13th was an unlucky date to perform, so he would never perform on that date. And when he wrote different operas, he would make sure that he would not include anything about 13 in it, and he was trying to let everyone know about why Friday the 13th was unlucky. But here's the catch. He ended up passing away in November on Friday the 13th.
So today, I think it's crazy that we're talking about his death. Today's his death anniversary. Like,
yeah, 1869.
That's wild.
Crazy. Yeah.
But the idea that you are afraid of Friday the 13th and like you have such a superstition about it, and then you die on Friday the 13th. That's like that is strange. I don't have superstitions, but I will say that is a very interesting coincidence.
Interesting coincidence. Now on to our next coincidence.
Oh yes.
All right, so everyone knows the movie Friday the 13th. Everyone knows the movie Apollo 13, based on Apollo 13 and the crazy, challenges they had, where they were supposed to land on the moon and it didn't happen because one of their oxygen tanks exploded. When they went to go mix the oxygen tank, the circuitry that they had put in there caused a spark, and because you have this oxygen-ristic environment, it caused the tank to explode. This also happens to be the 13th Apollo mission, Apollo 13. The day the oxygen tank exploded was on April 13th, 1970. So, just more of the 13s being around. It was a Friday, and a lot of 13s in the Apollo 13 mission. But again, all coincidences. I don't buy it. And to end it off, nothing crazy, nothing too freaky, but the movie Freaky Friday. There have been 3 versions of this movie, although the concept has been projected multiple times.
Isn't there like one with Vince Vaughn coming out now? Like he's a serial killer, and like there's like a girl.
That's called Freaky, and that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
Today, it's literally coming out today.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
On the 13th.
Did I hope I didn't ruin that moment for you?
Yeah, the original Freaky Friday came out in 1976 on Friday the 13th, and then we had the Lindsay Lohan movie Friday the 13th. So I'm hoping they can continue these series and get to 13 movies, and then the entire cast dies mysteriously.
No, don't wish that.
In random act. I do.
That's
because
horrible.
they would always cement how freaky Friday the 13th is. And that's all I got for you.
There
Thanks
you
for
go.
stopping by to John's Corner.
So I don't know if you guys have any crazy stories. I thought it'd be cool to go to chat and see if you had anything about Friday the 13th, if you believe that it is truly unlucky day, or is it just wild built up lore, or I don't want to say lore is not real, but like the idea is it wildly exaggerated just because like you don't have any. I don't know if anybody feels like, of course it's like this great, Friday, whenever you hear Friday the 13th you go ooh, and I think it's because of the movie Jason.
Well,
honestly, within our culture.
You used to, so you were in a performing arts high school when you were younger, right?
Yeah.
Before you went to perform, didn't you ask people to go on stage and break a leg? Hey, break a leg.
Well, yeah,
You said it.
That's
a superstition.
Yes. Well, it's like how you're not supposed to say Hamlet in the theater. There's a lot there. Like,
yes,
there's so many of them, right? So I don't know. And again, you have your superstitions, traditions. You could call them. The superstitions and traditions, I think, can be intertwined, and they could be very separate at the same time. So today, the unluckiest of days. But so far today, I don't feel anything bad. Besides, of course, the overwhelming tragedy of 2020 and everything going on. But that's been every day. So, but I hope you guys learned something new. I hope maybe, even if it was just the crazy words we just talked about, that I'll never be able to pronounce to my dying day. It is Saturday the 14th.
That's
it is
cheese.
Now it is. Yes, it's 3 hours ahead. If it's 3 hours ahead for you, you are at midnight 05 for sure. Nothing weird happened to me yesterday. Well, wonderful. Oh, you guys. Well, again, thank you for tuning in on this Freaky Friday, right? November 13th.
Big shout out to Cheese and Epic for their amazing donations.
The biggest shout out there ever was. You guys
so
are
many people
amazing.
Now can use your amazing emotes.
Oh, I know. You have access to the couple of cute emotes.
This is my favorite, just so you guys know. I posted in the chat.
Fun stream. Thank you so much, Cheese. I really do appreciate it. My cheeks hurt. Like, mad.
And Yosoi, go follow Yosoi's channel, guys.
Please go follow.
He does amazing gaming, really hilarious. So if you like silly games, I'm gonna post it on right here. I wish I had a quick emote for it, but go follow him. He's great. He's super fun to watch.
Yes. Jazz, do you have the things you?
He's such a liar.
Like, does anybody have any questions? I hate the idea of like leaving without if anyone had any questions. I feel like I should always do a small Q&A for a quick epic second. But if not, I totally get it, and I enjoy the people chilling, for sure. Oh, you have a real question, Jazz? How dare you? No.
That's a question. It's officially a question. It's true. I agree. How dare you?
You emphasize it. I get it.
Yeah,
Epic, shoot. Go quiet.
Yeah.
There's
that like 5 to 7 seconds
we went
away.
with the lo-fi hip-hop stick for the background today. Where'd you babies come from? Stork.
The stork.
The stork. Clearly.
The storks.
Clearly.
The storks bring them. It's confirmed.
What were you thinking? What is it? Oh, jeez.
Jeez.
Yes. Oh, you guys, thank you again. I'm actually really in Mighty Vibes lo-fi hip hop, right? I was thinking of trying to think of really fun music, and I didn't want to. We just did the spooky series, and I didn't want to do spooky music again. So I was playing around, and then of course Angelus was just like, John goes, how about you do this lo-fi hip hop? And I was like, I love it. It's very much a Cowboy Bebop feel. So I hope you guys enjoyed the chill vibe of today's stream. And we won't be back in 2 weeks. It's Thanksgiving, so I decided to take a small break, but we'll do another History Drink Repeat on December 11th. And we'll do one, of course, probably pertaining to the holidays of the time. So we'll go. I'll figure out the topic in the coming days and everything. So again, thank you so much. A big shout out to Yosoi Epic. Please go follow him. Oh no, it's a sad face there, Sai. Jordies. The 11th of December, we'll do our next one. I know I feel so far away, but I'll be streaming. I'll be playing games till then. That is like forever, isn't it? I know. So far. I don't know if you guys, but the time is flying by. I have my classes end in December, so I just want to make sure I spend some time focusing on getting my credential buttoned up, finished, and then entertain you guys in the coming months.
What are you playing this next week on your streams? Monday and Wednesday, right?
Well, I still have to finish Hollow Knight. I'm gonna start Resident Evil 3 as well. So I'm figuring it out. Out. Oh yes, thank you, Cheese, for following Yosoi Epic. Please, you guys, if you have not already, please go follow Yosoi Epic. He is wonderful. All right, you guys, thank you again for tuning in today. I extremely appreciate you spending your Friday night with us. Always, always amazing. And I love ya. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a beautiful weekend. And have a great Thanksgiving as well. All right, you guys. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.